everyone, this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make the Victorian lace earrings that match the Victorian lace collar that we did in our last tutorial. And it is just basically one segment of 3 units of netting. And then we'll just make a little connection to put our ear wires on. So we're going to need for this project we're going to need 14 3x5 fire polished donuts. We will need 24 4mm Bicone crystals. I am using a champagne color in the crystal, and I'm using a bronzed garnet in the 3x5 donuts. You'll need 11/0 seed bead, and I'm using metallic bronze check seed bead. You'll need a drop seed bead. I'm using a Miyuki drop. You will also need 2 ear wires, 2 6mm jump rings, 2 4mm jump rings. To start this project, thread a little over an arm's length, just a couple inches maybe, of 6-pound Fireline onto your needle. I am using a size 10 needle. We will start with our first little segment. We'll start from the fire polish down, and we will make our little loop up through the fire polish here. And those are the beads we're going to pick up to start with. We will begin by picking up a fire polish bead, 2 seed beads, a Bicone crystal, 2 seed beads, a fire polish bead, 2 seed beads, a Bicone crystal, a seed bead, a drop, a seed bead, a Bicone crystal, and 2 seed beads. Then we will bring them down to the end of our thread, leaving a 4 to 5 inch tail, enough to get your needle on and sew back through your project at the end. So what we have on our thread now, we have a fire polish bead, 2 seed beads, a Bicone crystal, 2 seed beads, a fire polish bead, 2 seed beads, a Bicone crystal, a seed bead, a drop, a seed bead, a Bicone crystal, and 2 seed beads. Now we're going to create our bottom loop of our unit here, and we're going to do that by sewing back up through the fire polish bead, the second one that you added. Everything's loose, so just kind of hold on and pull your thread through. And now you have the bottom of your loop. You'll then need to create the top half of your section of netting here. So we'll pick up 2 more seed beads, a Bicone crystal, and 2 seed beads. We will sew up through the top donut. Now we have one little unit here. At this point, to secure everything and make it easier to work with, I'm just going to pick it up with the tail and the working thread, and I am going to tie a knot. And pull it tight. This will secure everything so that you can work a little easier. Now we need to move over so that we can share this bead and start our second unit here. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to pick up an 11/0, a Bicone crystal, an 11/0, a fire polish bead, and 2 seed beads. What we've done is given ourselves a little segment of room to work down through this fire polish bead, and we are going to go down into this bicone crystal. This will start the top half of our unit. Pull everything tight. So now we have the top half of our unit. We need to create the middle and our loop. So we're going to create the middle first, and then we will share this bicone crystal, and then we will create our loop. That's what it should look like. Let's pick up 2 seed beads, a bicone crystal, 2 seed beads, 2 seed beads, a fire polish bead, 2 seed beads, and then down through the bottom crystal. And pull everything tight. And now we will create our loop. So we'll pick up 2 seed beads this time. The middle one is a little wider, so we pick up 2 seed beads, a drop, 2 seed beads, a bicone crystal, 2 seed beads. So we have 2 seed beads, a drop, 2 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and 2 seed beads. And we're going to come up through our fire polish bead. Then we're going to create the middle so that we can work up back through the bicone or through the fire polish bead. So 2 seed beads, a bicone crystal, 2 seed beads, and we will come back up through the top fire polish bead. We will now pick up a seed bead, a bicone crystal, a seed bead, a fire polish bead, and 2 seed beads. And again, we will share the bicone crystal on our way down. Go through the bicone crystal, pull everything tight. We'll create our midsection again, 2 seed beads, a fire polish bead, 2 seed beads, and we will share this bicone crystal. So down through the bicone crystal and pull tight. Now we're going to make our loop and make the last half of our last segment here. So we will pick up 1 seed bead, 1 drop, 1 seed bead, bicone crystal, 2 seed beads, and we will come up through the donut. We will then finish our top half by picking up 2 seed beads, a bicone crystal, 2 seed beads, and sew up through the fire polish bead. So we've created our unit of segment of netting. Now we have to sew up through the top here and secure it. We have a little division here, which when you pick up your earring, it'll kind of sag, and we don't want that to happen. We want to secure the top. So we're going to sew through, get you real close here so you can see exactly what we're going to do. We are going to sew through this seed bead, the bicone crystal, and this seed bead. just these 3, and pull it through. Now we're going to insert a little seed bead in here just to steady everything up. So we're going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, and then we're going to go through the bicone crystal, the seed bead, the bicone crystal, and the seed bead on the other side. And that's what you should have. Now, everything's still a little bit wobbly, so we're going to sew down through our fire polish bead here. We're going to work our way through this segment, all the way down around, come back up through the second segment, and work our way all the way up to this fire polish beads. We're just going to kind of make a zigzag here. So we're going to go down through the fire polish, the 2 seed beads, all the way through the fire polish, the second fire polish bead in the first little segment here. Then we're going to work back down into the 2 seed beads, the bicone crystal, we're going to sew through the loop, the drop, the seed beads, back up through the crystal, and then we're going to swerve over to the second unit here. The 2 seed beads. Let's get you in close so you can see where I'm going. These 2 seed beads right here, and up through the second fire polish bead. Pull through. Then we're going to go through these 2 seed beads, this bicone, and back up through the fire polish bead. Okay. Now, I'm back up in the top. I'm going to sew through this little seed bead here, and just that little seed bead, and it'll kind of pull it straight up and down so it lays flush right on top of the fire polish bead. And move out so I don't get out of frame here. Now, we're going to make our loop for our ear wire. So we will pick up 2 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and then 4 seed beads, and then a fire polish bead, and we'll drop them down. We will now pick up 6 seed beads, and we're going to loop back around the fire polish bead to create a loop for our clasp. Or not clasp, but ear wire. So just sew through the opposite side, let's get closer, that your thread is coming out of. So straight through that fire polish bead and pull. Seeds are going to look a little goofy here, seed beads. And you're going to sew back up and around through. I'm going to pick the piece up because it's very difficult for me to sew from that angle to do this. So I'm just going to come up through the 3 seed beads and then the other 3. and then through the fire polish bead again. Everything's kind of loose and wobbly right now, and that's okay. Pull it tight. That should kind of tighten it up. I'm going to do that one more time. Up through the 3 seed beads, down through the next 3, through the fire polish bead, pull tight. And that's what you should have. It's getting a little closer. And that's what you should have. Okay, so from this point, we are going to work our way back down. So we need to pick up 4 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and 2 seed beads. We are now going to go through the little tiny seed bead on the top of the fire polish bead. Just make him kind of, he's sitting sideways. We're going to make him stand up on his, stand up straight here. So you can see I'm going through that little seed bead and the fire polish bead. And pull straight through. Keep your tail out of the way. And this is what you should have. I've got a little bit of looseness right here, so I'm going to sew back down through this unit and back around and just kind of secure everything. Let's move back just a little bit so I stay in frame here. I'm going to sew back through these 2 little seed beads. Anywhere you see along your thread path, don't cross and go somewhere that your thread path doesn't run, but just run through and tighten everything up, sewing through. So I've sewn through this entire bottom unit. That's basically just securing, so just sew through like I said. I'm going back up through the second bicone on the end here, up through my fire polish bead. And I'm going to go through these 2 because they look a little loose. I'm just going to run through these 2 seed beads. Now once you're up here and you want to sew back through, make sure you just go through this 1 seed bead. I'll show you where I am. I have my thread coming out of the fire polish. I want to go this direction, so I'm just going to take this 1 little seed bead. That way I don't cross my thread path and it won't look funny. And here I'm going to sew back up. Go through all my seed beads. This is just kind of up to your discretion here, where you want to sew through. Wherever anything looks a little sloppy or a little loose, just sew through, secure it. You can sew through as many times as you want, so wherever you want, just as long as you don't cross your thread path. Make sure that you're following the beads, following your original thread path. And I'm just going to sew back down through, maybe, fire polish bead here. I'm going to continue sewing a little bit to where I feel comfortable. I'm going to knot off, cut my thread off, and then we'll come back and put on our ear wires. Also, while you're at it, when you're done cutting your working thread off, thread onto your tail and then just sew it through and cut it off. You don't have to go crazy with it, just sew it through a few beads. And we'll be back. Okay, so I'm back. I have sewn my working thread through until I was comfortable where everything was tight and looking pretty. And then I sewed my tail through and cut it off. And now we're going to add our clasp. Now we've made the little loop up here of our seed beads. I'm using check seed beads, and sometimes you get a little odd seed bead. Try to sort those out. I've got a little funny shaped one here, which might make my earring hang a little weird. But at this point, it's going to stay there. So, we're going to take our larger jump ring, and we're going to open it, and we're going to slide it onto our loop of beads, like so. Then we're going to close it. Then we're going to take our small jump ring and open it. Slide our ear wire on it. Slide our large jump ring on it. And close it. Oop. And the two jump rings ensures that it hangs the proper direction. If you just put one on there, it'll hang sideways instead of forward. So that's why you need two. The larger makes it easier to get through the 6 seed beads on the top. If you use a little one, it just doesn't slide through very easily. So that is how you make the Victorian lace earrings. I hope that you enjoyed it and are successful in your endeavors of making them yourself. If not, if you have any issues or questions, please leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.